Are you the hunter or the prey?
Hi guys, welcome back to another interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Kai'Sa complete guide. So, as I've mentioned in my tier list video and probably other videos as well, Kai'Sa is arguably the best AD carry at the moment. Personally, for me, it's between Kai'Sa and Xayah, but Kai'Sa definitely an S tier AD carry. And as you guys know, AD carry is my main role, and Kai'Sa is actually my most played champion at the moment. Although my win rate on Kai'Sa is like just at 50%, because in my opinion, Kai'Sa takes quite a while to learn. Like your first 10 plus matches, you're just gonna be kind of figuring out how she works, because she is a pretty complicated character with a pretty overloaded kit, and that can be used in multiple ways. So today we actually have somewhat of a little bit different format. So instead of starting off in the practice mode like we normally do, instead we're actually gonna go into this I guess you could say character screen of Kai'Sa, and we're gonna go through her abilities one by one. And then after that, we're gonna jump into the practice mode and show you guys the abilities with some tips and tricks included, of course, as usual. So, her passive is called Second Skin and it's two parts. So, first part is Living Weapon. It's basically her abilities evolve based on permanent stats she gains from items and levels. So, different abilities take different stats to evolve. So, we're gonna get into that as we get to the abilities. So, her second passive is Caustic Wounds. So her attacks put marks on enemies, and her allies CC also puts marks on enemies, and each of these marks cause a tiny bit of magic damage. However, the important part is when you reach 5 stacks of plasma, the plasma will detonate, and that will cause a percentage missing health damage. So it's really good, especially in the early game when you're skirmishing, having a 2v2 with the enemy bot lane and they're like sort of running away, and let's say you're at 4 stacks, they're at low health, it is sometimes worth to just flash forward for the auto attack just to detonate the plasma, because that can actually get you the kill. So there's a cap for detonation to monsters, not really important. So we have her first skill, Catch and Rain. So basically she will launch 6 missiles that split evenly among all the enemies in the range. So if there's, let's say, 3 minions, 2 enemy bot laners, then each of them will take 1 missile, and randomly one of them will take an extra missile. So that is obviously not good, because you want to be getting off your damage on the enemy champions, not unless you're trying to clear the wave and get the damage on the enemy minions. So you sort of have to position yourself such that only the enemy champions are in range, so that you can cast ability on them and not have like minions or jungle monsters interfere with it if you want to get off all the damage on them. So the successive missiles that hit will do less and less damage, but don't let it deter you. You still want to hit all 6 missiles on a single enemy if possible. She has really good like 1v1 because of this skill, because of the isolated Ekathrin Rain's damage. And for Living Weapon, you need 70 attack damage, and it will double the amount of missiles you fire. So when you build Kai'Sa, you want to prioritize evolving this ability, and I will talk a little bit more about that in the build. So minions below 35% health take 200% damage. So this is to take note if you are wave clearing and you want to use your first ability wave clear. Don't use it at the start. Auto attack the minions a little bit before using it. So next is her W, Void Seeker. This is a really like long range, sort of, you could say, sniping tool where you can reveal the area around you, and it also adds 2 plasma stacks. So this is what you normally take like level 2s, just for the quick addition of plasma stacks. And Living Weapon, its AD ability power, it adds 3 stacks instead of 2 and refunds 70% of the cooldown on champion hit. So this is not really evolved normally in these most popular Kai'Sa builds, including mine, because it's sort of like always an optional evolution for her W. Now, I have actually tested many different Kai'Sa builds. I tested like the Q Evolve, E Evolve Rush, which is the one I'm going to recommend to you guys later. I've tested just the normal crit build without the Rush, and I've tried the Rush as well, but in a different kind of build. So later you'll see that we built component parts before we complete items. I've tried the complete item rush, like Infinity Edge plus Vamp Scepter to evolve Q, that kind. However, I feel that the component rush is the best build. And I've also tried like AP Kai'Sa, I've tried hybrid Kai'Sa like Nash's Tooth, Rabadon's Death Cap, and mixed with physical damage items like Runan's Hurricane and Infinity Edge and whatnot. However, I feel that the rush build that I'm going to show you guys today is the best build. So that build does not allow you to evolve W, but the W evolve is always just optional. So for our E, it's basically an attack speed. Steroid charges up for 1 second, gains movement speed, and then gains attack speed. So to note is that when you're charging for that 1 second and gaining the movement speed, it starts like your reposition time, and it actually stops you from auto attacking when you press your E for the first time. So that's something to note. So if you're like going in for a fight and you want to get off your damage, it's better to use E before you are actually in the fight than when you're in the fight and you press E, because there's going to be 1 solid second where you're literally doing no damage. So yeah, living weapon, 65% attack speed. You get invisibility during the charge up, which is really good. It allows you to reposition and makes you untargetable for that 1 second. So attacks reduce your supercharges cooldown, which is your E, by 0.5 seconds. So after it goes on cooldown, you of course want to be auto attacking. Technically you're always auto attacking when it's the minions or the enemy champions, but this is just something to take note. So charge type and movement speed scale of attack speed. So yep, that's something just to take note. Her ultimate, Killer Instinct, dashes to a location near an enemy champion marked with plasma and gains a shield for 2 seconds. Pretty simple, self-explanatory ultimate. Just take note, the enemy does have to have plasma stacks for you to use it. So we're gonna jump into the practice mode now, and we're gonna show off what her abilities do. Alright, there we go, stuck at 99% for quite some time. So, of course we're gonna first cover her leveling order. So, first off, we're gonna turn off the enemy bot, level ourselves up. Let's just level ourselves up all the way.
Minions have spawned.
Okay, that's probably all the way. So, first off, we want to get our Q obviously, then level 2 we'll get our W, of course level 3 we'll get our E, and then we go for a Q max. So level 5 we'll take ultimate, and basically we just take ultimate whenever it's available. So I'm just going to pretend that we're leveling up, take ultimate whenever it's available, max Q, then max E, then max W. So that is her leveling order. So we're going to go to our usual spot at the bottom side river, and oh, we don't want to walk there, and we're going to put up a enemy dummy. So here we're first going to show off her Q. So this is her Q's range. It's pretty big. So if we Q this enemy dummy, 6 missiles are gonna just go into the enemy dummy. However, as I was explaining just now, if we're gonna put an enemy dummy over here with the minions around, if you guys can see, the missiles are gonna split between the enemy dummy as well as the minions. So here we're gonna do it again, but with more minions around. So here it splits evenly among all of them, and as you can see, here's the passive. So we do get the plasma proc over there. We're just gonna remove where is the remove dummy? There we go. We're just gonna remove this guy. So here is the W. The range is really long. You do get an sort of like a extended, or not really extended, an adjusted field of view when you're trying to aim your W, like that. And it's really long range. So what you can do with it is 2 things mainly. First thing is you want to check, use it to check if the enemies are there. So let's say I want to check the enemy blue buff, and I'm just all the way over here. I can launch my W and I can check like that. So the second way to use it is we're gonna get ourselves an enemy dummy again. It's just for quick stacks. So first up, this is the way. Let's say you want to get a quick stack, boom, extra 2 stacks, boom, boom, and we did 3 auto attacks as well as a W, which allowed us to prop the passive. So now we're going to move on to the E. So the E can attack during that time. Now we get bonus attack speed, boom. And to take note is that it goes on cooldown immediately after you press it, even though it's obviously and during that time you can with the enhanced attack speed you can try to lower its cooldown as much as possible with the increased attack speed.
Monsters are everywhere.
Like that. And here is how the ultimate works. So we're gonna have to give this guy some plasma stacks like that. So the ultimate allows you to dash anywhere within that circle around him. So you can use it just like, for example,
I return
if you want to engage on someone. I'm gonna hope I hit the enemy dummy there. Oh, so we do. So we dash over here and start dealing our damage. So we're gonna go 0 cooldown. The other way is you're already in the fight. You want to get extra defenses. It's a really close fight. You just just tap ultimate and you just attack it. Probably don't want to tap it, but maybe you just cast it at the edge like that, so you're in auto attack range, but you're not literally on top of the enemy. So you just press it right at the edge of the enemy and you get the shield. So you can just use it for the shield as well. And another way is to join the fight, but not on your own accord. Let's say this is not you launching W, but let's say your Alistair just got a pulverize. You can follow up like that by jumping into the fight, like so. And there's actually one last way you can use it that may not be widely known. So I'm gonna put another enemy bot here.
It's a good day for a hunt.
Enemy dummy, I mean. So here's the enemy dummy. And I'm gonna give it a plasma stack. You can actually use it to go over the wall, like that. So it does have a range. So you can use it to go over walls. So sometimes, let's say we're having a fight with this dummy here, we're gonna lose to the dummy. And we're at low health. We just wanna out over the wall just to escape. Probably the example would be better if the enemy dummy is where I am now and I want to get over to where the enemy dummy is. But yeah, you guys get the picture. You can use it to basically run away. So yeah, with that, let's jump into the build. So we get out of here. And we're going to talk in detail about the build. So the build is really complicated, but here we go. So Kaisa, here's the build. Alright, so as you guys can see, I called this build Starter Game for obvious reasons. So first off, you start off the game with a longsword, obviously. And this is your first 3 items. So you're gonna go for Executioner's Calling, BF Sword, and Longsword. Now there is an alternative to this. Instead of Executioner's Calling, you can actually go for Vamp Scepter, which is this. This builds into the Blade of the Rune King, whereas Executioner's Calling builds into the Moral Reminder. But majority of the time, it's better to go into the Executioner's Calling because the enemy team normally sooner or later will have some lifesteal or some healing that you want to apply the Grievous Wounds to reduce. So that's why I normally go Executioner's Calling instead of Vamp Scepter. However, you can also go for Vamp Scepter instead. So if you do manage to get an early kill or early kills, you can actually go for BF Sword first. But basically you want to get BF Sword, Executioner's Calling, and then Longsword. Either that or Executioner's Calling, BF Sword, then Longsword. To get these 3 components will get your Q Evolve. A thing to note is that after you get your Executioner's Calling and your BF Sword, the game is going to start recommending you to get other things like a dagger, but you want to manually go in and buy the Longsword. You don't want to buy your dagger, you want to get these 3 items first. To get your Q Evolve. After you get your Q Evolve, you can get your Blade of the Rune King. Now, the boots is up to your own discretion. When you want to get your boots is up to your own discretion. I suggest completing these 3 items first, then getting first tier boots, but you can go for second tier boots also if you really need it. And then after these 3 items, you get into your Blade of the Rune King. And after you get Blade of the Rune King, you get a recurve bow. Now this recurve bow will give your Evolve, so finishing these components with Blade of the Rune King will give you your Q Evolve and your E Evolve. So this is the best starting build for Kaisa. So now the final build is gonna look like this. So you have already built Blade of the Rune King. At this point in time, you should have like a Executioner's Calling and a recurve bow in your inventory as well, and your boots, of course. So next we go for Infinity Age. Now Infinity Age and Runan's Hurricane are your next two core items. So these basically Bork, IE, and Runan's is Kai'Sa's core build. So now, whether you go for Infinity Age first or Runan's Hurricane first is up to your personal preference and also the situation of the match. I used to go for Runan's Hurricane first more often than not previously, but nowadays I like going for Infinity Age first more often than not, just for the increased damage. So Infinity Age is sort of like, it really gives you increased damage because it gives you 55 AD and increased crit damage, whereas this one just gives you crit rate and attack speed. It doesn't actually increase your damage, but whatever it is, her major power spike is after these three items are completed, which is why she's a late game hyper carry, which also has some agency in the early game just because of her isolated Kathleen Rain and so on. But this is really up to your personal preference and these and how the match is going. So now for our last two items, you're going to start going defensive, which is the Guardian Angel for the revive, as well as the Moral Reminder if you guys, actually not really if you need it. You're pretty much going to always build Moral Reminder because you already have the Executioner's Calling. So pretty much you're going to be always building Moral Reminder. The order of Moral Reminder and Guardian Angel also depends on the match. If you're not dying too much, you can go for Moral Reminder first. If you are dying a ton, you want to go for Guardian Angel first, of course, before Mortal Reminder. And if you don't even need a Guardian Angel, you can pick up a Phantom Dancer for even more crit chance and even more attack speed, as well as a little bit of a defensive lifeline passive. So for the runes, this is pretty standard rune setup. I would say you want to go for Conqueror. Nothing else is really viable on Kai'Sa. You're gonna go for Brutal. Personally, I like Brutal so I have some early game damage, because you can get kills in the early game with Kai'Sa, especially if the opponent don't know what they're doing, which is getting more and more rare because Kai'Sa is really common. Now you can actually also go for Gathering Storm. I used to go Gathering Storm on Kai'Sa, but I didn't really like it later on because of how it takes really long to scale, and I don't really have as much damage early game, which I do want. Hunter Vampirism, don't really need it because you normally build Vamp Boots and normally take Blade of the Rune King, which already gives you a lot of lifesteal, so you don't really need this. The rest all don't really not really need it. Champion, high risk, high reward. You can always go for Champion if you want, but I don't. Second rune, Hunter Titan. You can also opt for something like Regeneration or Spirit Rocker, but personally I just prefer Hunter Titan. And last one, Sweet Tooth, just for extra sustain in lane. The heal increase in mana and health really helps from the Sweet Tooth rune passive. Now other options could be basically just Hunter Genius, but I prefer Sweet Tooth. And before I forget yet again, I'll need to talk about the boot enchantments, but before that we're going to talk about the spells. Flash and Heal or Barrier, standard AD carry runes, so you either take Heal or Barrier depending on the situation. Normally you'll take Barrier, but we're going to take a look at the boot enchant. So it's honestly pretty simple. I always go for Gluttonous Greaves. Other options is just Merc Treads and Plate Steel Caps, but I pretty much always go for Gluttonous Greaves because you don't have a lot of lifesteal in this build. Your only lifesteal is the Blade of the Rune King 10% vamp, but I like the extra 8% vamp from the Gluttonous Greaves because we're obviously going to do a lot of damage, so that's going to help a ton. And then, of course, we have the rest of the build, which doesn't actually give any lifesteal. So now your main two options are your normal AD carry options, which is of course the Stasis Enchant if a lot of people are, going onto you, and you're normally going to build Stasis Enchant because normally you're going to dive in with your ultimate, so after you use all your spells auto attack, you might find yourself in a sticky situation, so you just just press your Stasis. So of course you can also go for Quicksilver Enchant. QSS if there's a lot of enemy CC, like let's say, and there's Ari, there's Seraphine, and all that, a lot of CC that you can actually QSS on the enemy team that is not like knockups, so you can also go for that. Pretty much the rest of the options don't really work for Kai'Sa just because these two options are just so good for her. So that's pretty much it for the build, and now we're just gonna jump into the gameplay. Alright, so here we have jumping into the gameplay. So now, full disclosure, this gameplay was from before patch 2.2. I believe it was from the patch right before 2.2. As you guys can see, if you take a look at like the longsword and the sapphire crystal, it isn't the new one. But yeah, so this is of course as usual in all our complete guides. It is a ranked match, and we're up against a Jinx Blitzcrank. Really nice bubble by Nami there, but we got a pretty solid team. We got Wukong for some CC and a little bit of damage and tankiness. Ari for magic damage. We have me for physical damage. We have Nasus for the tanking as well. Nasus is going to be really tanky in the late game. So pretty good compared to their team. Their team's main tank is Blitzcrank, who isn't all that tanky, but they do have Katarina and Lee Sin, which can be really scary for us, especially in the early game, or if Katarina starts to snowball. We of course don't want Jinx to get fed as well. So as you guys can see there, I managed to get off the isolated Q on the Jinx. Always take the opportunity if you can. I tried to follow up with the W for the stacks, but barely miss. Nami with another nice bubble. However, it is a little bit too far for us to follow up, so we don't want to overextend and step too forward just to follow up on the bubble. But here, just farming the minions. As you guys can see, Nami hits yet another bubble, but we can't follow up yet again. Ari actually gets a kill on the Katarina in the mid lane, so that is a really good start for our team. Nami just throwing the bubbles and adding the pressure. So here we can actually, if you guys spotted there, Lee Sin was actually spotted at the bot side river. Now he's in mid lane, so now we know that he is not at our area, at least for the time being. So that's why we are so aggressively pushing up. But now of course he could be anywhere at the moment. So we get the isolate Q on the Blitzcrank as well as the auto attack, which puts him basically to half health. This is why I'm saying that Kai'Sa is a late game hyper carry that scales into late game. However, she still can hold her own in the early game. So here Blitzcrank clearly wants a hook. I don't know why he's aiming for me instead of aiming for Nami instead of me, but Katarina comes for the roam. They get nothing. But Blitzcrank made it really obvious that someone was coming, either the Lee Sin or the Katarina, so we basically just run straight back to the tower. So another really nice bubble by by Nami. Nami gets hooked into the tower by Blitzcrank, unfortunately. So instead of getting a kill there, we instead got killed. So that is, of course, not what we want to see, but yeah. So we're gonna back here, we get a BF sword and a longsword, of course. So in this gameplay, I actually do go for the Vamp Scepter build, because at this point in time, most people were going for the Vamp Scepter build, and the Executioner's Calling build was not yet really very meta. Now Executioner's Calling build is more popular than the Vamp Scepter build, mostly because it was popularized in the Asian Brawl, I believe. And after people saw that and people all started following that build, so yeah. As you guys can see, Lee Sin is in mid lane with Katarina yet again, so there's completely no threat from anyone roaming up here to basically gank us. So Jinx gets a really good snipe with her ultimate and causes her to get excited, which of course makes her want to go in on us. So I do use my ult for the shield there and my barrier as well. So this was a really close fight that ended up that me and Nami came out on top, but it could have gone honestly either way. If let's say I died there to the Jinx procs her, get excited again, and Jinx probably kills Nami. So instead of me getting a double kill, it's probably Jinx getting a double kill instead. Now Katarina roams up here, but I'm not really sure what she's trying to achieve, because her bot lane has already died, so she's probably just trying to clear minions. And both teams pretty much have ignored the dragon. So here I just overstay my welcome, essentially just greeting for minions. Don't do that, don't greet for minions like me. I pretty much just overstay my welcome, so I had to burn my flash to get out. of the situation. So here we get the Ram Scepter, BF Sword, and Longsword, as well as boots. Gives me the Q Evolve. So now we have already gotten our Q Evolve within the first 5 minutes of the game. Lee Sin gets a successful gank on Ahri, and Lee Sin has walked right into our bot side jungle. He was low as I checked the mini map, so he should be in like this bush, but apparently he's not. So I did ward the blue buff bush, and I checked that bush, but he wasn't there. So I assume he has gone to wolves, either to farm the camp or to recall there. But either way, I'm missing the minions. I'm just gonna go back to lane and farm the minions. But no, I honestly have no idea where he went. I can actually just watch the replay and turn off Fog of War to find out, but I'm not gonna do that. So here we see them rotating to Dragon. Of course, we actually have priority because our minions are pushing, so I have no idea why they're rotating and not just getting the cannon instead. But here Lee Sin secures the Dragon, and Nami gets an amazing ultimate off on everybody. Nami flashes over the wall, gives me vision of the Lee Sin, which allows me to out to the Lee Sin long range and get the kill on him. But they're all really low, so my evolved Q with the 12 missiles did manage to pick up a kill, and then following up with the ultimate on the Lee Sin to get yet another kill. So here 3 people are dead. We're just gonna shove down mid. Katarina is left on her own, and Ahri and Wukong pretty much just wombo combo her the CC for the kill. And meanwhile, I'm just focusing the tower, because we really want to get, number 1, we want to get the first tower, which we just did, and number 2, we want to get mid tower, because mid lane tier 1 tower is the most important tower of the game to take, especially in the early game. Of course, not more important than inhibitors, but in the early game, that's the most important tower to take, because it really opens up the map for you. It allows you to move into the enemy's jungle undetected and place vision there. So we're gonna of course go back to lane. Lane is pushing towards us. Jinx randomly throws out her E. Not sure what she's doing there. We can see Blitzcrank coming back up. Nami is also coming up, so it's pretty much gonna be bot lane 2v2 yet again. At this point in time, we already have 3 kills and 2 assists, so we're scaling nicely into the late game. We have the Blade of the Rune King completed. We have the BF Sword and the Longsword. So another nice bubble by Nami. Nami has really been hitting her bubbles. I think it's pretty obvious by now that me and Nami are doing. Normally she plays Nami, but unfortunately she does get hooked over there. So pretty much a problem here, because I'm not gonna be able to 2v1 this. I'm just gonna flash back to tower, and we're not gonna take this fight, but we're gonna try to clear that cannon minion so that we can go on them. So basically, I don't know what's happening here, but Jinx just took a lot of free damage from me, basically for no apparent good reason. So she took a lot of free damage from me, which, although I was low, it allowed me to ult for the shield and get the kill on her. So as you guys can see, ulting for the shield happens pretty often. I would say that you ult for the shield more often than you actually ult to gap close. You pretty much ult for the shield. For me, you ult for the shield most commonly. Then would be ulting to gap close or reposition. Sometimes like you just ult to jump over the wall. So here we're just gonna go mid lane. We're trying to get a gank off on Katarina, but she is at a pretty safe position, so she does manage to, you know, get away. But we're gonna rotate for the Rift Herald here, because we are ahead of them a decent amount. We have like a 3k goal lead, almost 4k. So just gonna burst down the Rift Herald here. We secure it. Yasuo comes in to face check the Herald. I do manage to reposition myself to stand past the wind wall to get the Q on the Yasuo. So here Katarina comes in. She does get CC'd. I sense the opportunity. Of course, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna dive in with my ultimate. So there's the example of the ultimate to gap close. Jumping in my ultimate and, you know, just finish her off basically. Lee Sin too mobile for us to catch pretty much. Wukong just randomly released the Herald like in the river there. If you guys noticed just now, I assume he was just panicking from the Yasuo showing up. 4 enemy team members collapsing on the Ahri. Ahri has no chance, of course. Jinx gets the kill. Not really good news at all for us. At this point in time, we are really fat. We're 5-0-2. our team is pretty much, the rest of the team is doing alright. Nothing fantastic, but it's not like they're feeding. But the real concern here is that the enemy Jinx is actually 432, which is not bad considering Jinx is a really late game hyper carry. Jinx probably scales better than Kai'Sa in my opinion, but we're just gonna take their top lane tower because there's no one here to stop us. Katarina is rotating up, of course we can see that, but we're just gonna take the tower anyway. Katarina thankfully has not snowballed. She only has a Hextech Gunblade. She's 0 for 1, so we probably could 1v1 Katarina at this point in time, in my opinion. Probably could take a 1v1 against her, assuming we have ultimate. I believe Kai'Sa versus Katarina with a fed Kai'Sa and a feeding Katarina at this point in time. With ultimate, Kai'Sa surely beats Katarina. So Lee Sin is on the dragon, as you guys can see, but we are on the bot side of the map, so this probably isn't the best. We do have vision of it happening, of course, but what does it matter if we're not in any position to respond at all? So Wukong is actually responding there. He is actually going for either the steal or trying to go for the Lee Sin, but I assume the Lee Sin is low health because the moment Wukong showed up, he just pretty much got chased away. Here we pretty much just kill the Yasuo, shut down the Yasuo actually. So I'm assuming Lee Sin was low health because the moment Wukong showed up, he ran away. But basically now the entire enemy team is at Dragon. Dragon, we can't see it here, but the Dragon just now probably reset at least partially when Lee Sin ran away from the pit and Wukong showed up. But unfortunately we give up the Dragon yet again. Now I'm gonna admit that in this game our objective control is pretty horrible. I should not have been on the bottom side of the map when the Ocean Dragon is up, especially since Ocean Dragon is the second most important dragon. So here is the engage by the Wukong. So I did not want to ult in just now because I didn't want to dash into the middle of the entire enemy team. But here, of course, me and my Nami, we're duo, we're coordinated. So I'm going to dash in there right as she uses her ultimate, so that I don't take not so I don't take too much damage, but so that the enemies are CC'd. So here I'm just going to dive the tower. We're just going to get off damage, get the kills, and we pretty much kill the entire enemy team with the exception of Lee Sin, which is also supposed to push down the second tier tower, and we're going for the inhibitor as well. The Katarinas just respawned, but the rest of the enemy team just respawned. We managed to get the inhibitor and we're getting out of there, so I'm pinging to a retreat. Of course, Katarina is on the chase for the Nasus, probably. Here I'm just gonna provide some presence. Lee Sin thankfully misses the Q on the Nami, because if not, Lee Sin probably goes in on the Nami and gets the kill on the Nami. So Katarina does eventually catch up to the Nasus. So here Wukong is going in with his Cyclone. Nami does get the kill with her ultimate, as Katarina is really low health, and knocks up the Katarina and the Blitzcrank for us to get the kill, of course. So at this point in time, we're just really fed. Of course, you guys got the spoiler from the thumbnail that we pretty much don't die this game and we just get super duper fed. And at this point in time, we of course hit the major power spike of the Blade of the Rune King, Infinity Edge, and Runan's Hurricane. We still have the BF Sword in the inventory, as well as the Chain Vest, of course building towards Guardian Angel. So here, we actually did achieve two things with this ultimate. Number one, we actually ran away from the Yasuo who was about to kill us since we're in our melee range. And this, I really love this play here. So Yasuo was about to kill us because we're in melee range, and the Yasuo is pretty much doing the best on their team. This allows us to start off Baron, but Yasuo is pretty much doing the best on their team. So it allows me to jump away from Yasuo to the low health Lee Sin, finish off the Lee Sin. My abilities like my Q come off cooldown, and this allows us to get the kill on Yasuo as well after Yasuo comes after me, even with the splash. So this is ridiculous. Apparently Blitzcrank managed to steal the Baron Nashor with his redemption that he cast when he walked into the pit. So here we're just gonna eliminate the Jinx from the equation here, but apparently he managed to steal with the redemption with literally no enemies who are alive. So we literally lost every objective except the Rift Herald, which was not even used properly. So we lose 2 dragons, we lose the Baron. Apparently Wukong, I'm not even sure if Wukong had Smite there, but we can actually see from the replay, but I believe I have no idea, but if you guys want, you can rewind, see if Wukong had smite. So did Wukong just not smite the Baron, or did he not have smite, and did like 4 people lose the Baron to Blitzcrank's redemption? I wonder. So that's a pretty oof moment there, but thankfully for us, majority of the enemy team was dead at that point, so not many of them actually had the Baron buff active on them. So here, of course, we have picked up the GA. We're gonna actually pick up the red buff, and we have tier 2 boots, and as well as the Executioner's Calling to reduce the enemy's healing. So our team is pretty much just fighting at the top lane. Nami wanted to start the dragon, but the entire team just started fighting at the top lane. They got a double kill, but then they started inting. So here I'm just setting up an ambush for someone's gonna walk by in the bush, and the purple happened to be the Lee Sin. So you're just gonna get rid of the Lee Sin there. Here Katarina is pretty much 1 HP. We're gonna flash forward for the kill on the Katarina. Katarina might actually have survived if she didn't jump back to me, because the red buff didn't manage to share half the damage with the Katarina, meaning I only got 6 missiles on the Katarina instead of all 12. All 12 would have killed her for sure, but the red buff technically saved her life, but then she committed suicide by shun-poing back to me. So here we're going to pick up the Cloud Dragon, which is the first dragon we actually take. Wukong not even in the picture when it comes to taking the Cloud Dragon. So Wukong not the most objective focused jungler we have, but he's fine. Like, he's getting the knockups on the enemy team, so I guess we can't really complain about that. And at this point in time, we are now 8k gold ahead of the enemy team, and I am full build except for the boot enchantment, which I assume I'm going back to get the boot enchantment now. So we do have full build as of now. We have the so this is the full build of Kai'Sa. We are at our maximum strength, except for that we're at level 14, not 15, but pretty much we're at our maximum strength. So we're gonna posture towards the Baron, because we are just that far ahead of them. So Katarina comes to face check. I'm not sure why she's doing that, but here we're just gonna get off. We're just pretty much just gonna take the fight. Of course, we're so fed. Katarina's in the backline, so I have to actually gonna peel back to get the kill on the Katarina and save my team. So here then we get a double kill, and Ari gets a double kill as well. And we don't even need the Baron at this point. We took out all 4 of them. The wave is about to reach the base, and I'm picking to just just win the game basically. So I'm just gonna focus the base. Yasuo, of course, he has to do something about it, so he is gonna ult all 3 of us, and he does get the kill on the Ari, but Nessus gets the return kill, and we do finish off the game. So that is it. It's a deathless Kai'Sa gameplay. This game went really well for me, of course, and I did manage to show you guys most of the ways I use Kai'Sa. So here we have the stats: 15, 0, 12 for me, most champion damage, tower damage, team fight participation, I believe, gold, most kills, legendary. Of course, Nami does get the most assists, and Wukong does get the most vision. Yasuo, the Persat, does get most damage taken. So here we have the stats. Honestly, Ari and Yasuo came really close to my damage. I did do a lot of damage and tanked the least, with the exception of Nami. Of course, you don't want to be tanking a lot of damage as an AD carry. But that's it for the video, guys. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.